You, sit first. She laughed at the soldier's uniform, loud enough for the entire terminal to hear. He had nothing to say, just stood there, injured, silent, humiliated. But someone was watching. The pilot. 15 minutes later, he turned the plane around. And what happened next left every passenger speechless and the internet in tears. Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport buzzed with the barely controlled chaos that defines late Friday afternoons. Rolling luggage clicked across tile. Gate announcements blared over muffled PA systems. People were hungry, tired, over-caffeinated, under-rested. At Gate 12C, Flight 392 to Denver was posted in blinking yellow. Delayed. Estimated departure, 5:55 p.m. The crowd at the gate swelled as passengers paced or slumped in uncomfortable seats. At the far end of the gate, a young man stood alone. Uniformed, quiet, holding a military duffel bag with faded stenciling. PC Ryan Jacobs, U.S. Army. His uniform wasn't spotless. His boots were scuffed, and a black brace hugged his right leg, an injury from a training exercise that had gone wrong 3 weeks prior. He didn't draw attention to it. In fact, Ryan hoped no one noticed. He hated the way people looked at soldiers, either with forced gratitude or quiet suspicion. But Ryan was tired. He hadn't slept in 30 hours. He'd caught a red-eye out of Fort Benning, transferred twice, and still had one more flight to go. His mother, in a hospital bed in Aurora, Colorado, was about to undergo her third heart surgery. The doctors had called his CO that morning and said she might not make it through the weekend. He didn't want pity, just to get home. So he approached the Delta Gate agent, a woman in her early 50s with kind eyes and a bun pulled so tight it gave her a permanent smile. "Ma'am," Ryan said gently, "if there's a seat closer to the front, I'd really appreciate it. Doesn't have to be first or anything. I've got this brace and, well, it hurts a bit to walk." The agent looked up from her monitor. She saw the knee, the duffel, the uniform. She began typing. And that's when it happened. "Oh, for God's sake, seriously?" The voice came sharp and loud from behind Ryan. Heads turned. Standing in the sky priority line was a woman in her 40s, perfectly dressed in a crisp, white blouse, cashmere scarf, and sleek high heels. Her designer bag was perched on top of her carry-on like a badge of superiority. Candace Holloway, recently promoted regional sales director for a Fortune 100 skincare company and self-declared expert on what's fair. "We all have knees," she said, scoffing. "You don't see me asking for favors." Ryan turned slowly, unsure if he was hearing her correctly. The gate agent paused, fingers hovering mid-keystroke. "Excuse me?" the agent asked politely. "Look," Candace said, "I pay for my seat. So did everyone else here. If we start giving priority to every guy in uniform, where does it end? Should I show my badge for spending 6 hours in stilettos?" Someone snorted. A man with a neck pillow looked up from his phone. "Lady," he said under his breath, "he's literally limping." "Yeah, so's my patience," she shot back. Ryan's ears burned. He stepped back, about to say, "Never mind." But the gate agent leaned forward and smiled. "You're in luck, Private Jacobs. I've got an aisle seat in row 23 that just freed up. Should be a bit easier on your knee." "Thank you, ma'am," Ryan said. He didn't look at Candace as he walked away, but she watched him, lips pursed, eyes sharp. Boarding for Flight 392 was called at 5:41 p.m. The delay had only added to the tension. Zone 1 boarded first class and priority passengers. Candace Holloway wasted no time. She clicked onto the jet bridge like it was a red carpet, her scarf flowing behind her, already barking into her Bluetooth headset. "No, tell them to push the demo back. I've already had to reschedule twice thanks to this flight circus." She reached her seat, 3A, first row of economy with extra legroom. She sat, took a selfie with a mimosa, and posted it to her followers with the captions, "Delayed but fab. Let's go Denver." Back at the gate, Ryan waited quietly for Zone 4. He didn't make eye contact with anyone. His duffel seemed heavier than before. When his group was called, he made his way onto the plane, brace clicking slightly with each step. As he passed Candace in row 3, she didn't look up. But someone else did. A tall man in the cockpit doorway, watching silently, the pilot. Ryan reached seat 23B, an aisle seat in the middle of the cabin. He gritted his teeth as he lifted his duffel into the overhead. The man in the window seat nodded politely. "Rough day?" the man asked. Ryan nodded. "Long week." Behind them, boarding finished. The plane was full. The doors closed. The engines hummed. But the usual safety briefing never came. The cabin lights dimmed, then flickered. Then silence. Then, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking." The voice was clear, authoritative, calm. "Before we push back, I need to address something that occurred at the gate and was observed by several of my crew members. First Class Private Ryan Jacobs is flying with us today. He's recovering from a knee injury. He requested a seat closer to the front to ease his movement. That request was not met with kindness, but with mockery." Gasps rippled through the plane. Now, I've spent 22 years serving in the United States Air Force. I've worn that uniform. I know what it costs. So I want to be very clear. We do not tolerate disrespect on this aircraft. Not to our staff, not to our passengers, and especially not to those who serve. In row 3, Candace's face went white. "Private Jacobs," the captain continued, "would you kindly come to the front of the aircraft?" Flight attendants helped Ryan up. Every head turned as he walked down the aisle, bracing himself against the seatbacks. Candace looked away, lips tightening. At the front, Captain Thomas Riley waited, silver hair, calm eyes. He extended his hand. "Son, it'd be an honor if you'd sit in 3A. "That's not necessary, sir," Ryan replied, but the pilot shook his head. "That's my seat now," the captain said, gesturing toward the rear. "I'll take yours." Candace stood up, sputtering. "This is insane. I paid for this seat." "Ma'am," said a flight attendant, "please step into the galley. I have status. I'm Diamond Plus." "And this man," the captain said calmly, "has served his country." Candace's protest got louder. The crew didn't argue. Instead, they called airport security. 2 uniformed airport agents arrived 5 minutes later. "Ma'am, please collect your belongings." Candace refused. Passengers began recording. Candace turned to the camera phones. "This is discrimination. This is reverse harassment. I'm going to sue all of you." but she was escorted off the plane, bag, scarf, and all. As the doors closed behind her, the cabin erupted into applause. Ryan stood stunned, holding his duffel. The pilot patted his shoulder. "Take a seat, soldier. You've earned it." Ryan sat in 3A, the very spot Candace had claimed as her territory just 20 minutes ago. The same flight attendant who had served Candace with gritted teeth now handed Ryan a bottle of water with a warm smile. "Let me know if you need anything. We're glad you're with us." The flight took off at 6:04 p.m. The captain's announcement was brief this time. "Welcome aboard, folks. Cruising altitude 32,000 feet. The weather's clear all the way to Denver." People clapped again, not for the altitude, but for the moment they'd witnessed. Ryan sat silently, stunned. "You okay?" the woman in the middle aisle asked. She was a grandmother from Tennessee. I just didn't expect this." "You deserve it," she said softly. "You all do." 10 rows back, a little boy passed Ryan a folded note drawn in crayon. "Thank you for being brave." Signed, Kyle, age 7. A man in a business suit leaned over. "We didn't clap for the pilot," he said. "We clapped for you." Even the flight crew seemed lighter, smiling more, laughing with passengers. Kindness, it turned out, was contagious. Somewhere over Kansas, the woman next to Ryan gently tapped his shoulder. "You mentioned you're going to see your mom." "Yes, ma'am. She's in ICU at University Hospital in Aurora. 3rd heart surgery. They called me, said it might be my last chance." "Well," she said, gripping his hand, "I hope it's not. But if it is, she'll be proud of her son today." Flight 392 landed in Denver just after 8:10 p.m. As they taxied, the pilot made one final announcement. "Thank you for flying with us, and thank you once again to Private Jacobs for his service." Passengers clapped again, some louder this time. One man even stood to salute. At the gate, Ryan waited to deplane last. As he stepped off, the gate crew was lined up to greet him. They didn't say much, just nodded, hands over heart. But the real moment came when Ryan turned the corner and saw his mother. She was pale, thin, in a wheelchair with oxygen tubes and a nurse beside her. But her eyes lit up. "Ryan," she whispered. He dropped his bag and ran to her. Braced knee be damned. They hugged for a long time. The nurse turned away to give them privacy. "You made it," she said through tears. "Wouldn't miss it for the world," he replied. By the time Ryan and his mom left the airport, the story had already gone viral. A TikTok of the confrontation had been posted by a teenager in row 17. In just 5 hours, it had 1.2 million views. The caption? "She disrespected a soldier. The pilot made her regret it." News outlets picked it up. Reddit threads exploded. The comments were flooded with support. "Finally, someone stands up for those who stand up for us. Captain Riley is a legend." The airline released a statement the next day. "We commend Captain Riley and our crew for upholding the values of dignity and respect aboard Flight 392. Candace Holloway deactivated her social media. Ryan, he spent 5 full days with his mother. She made it through the surgery. When he returned to base, his entire unit was waiting with grins and cheers. One of them handed him a printed photo, a screenshot of the pilot shaking his hand. Frame it, his sergeant said. That's not just a moment, that's a legacy. We live in a world where people are always in a hurry to get ahead, to upgrade, to feel important. But sometimes, someone reminds us what really matters. A woman once said, "We all have knees." But not everyone has scars, or stories, or a mother they're praying to see one last time. That day, kindness won, respect won, and one small moment grew into a movement. Not because someone asked for it, but because someone stood up when it mattered. So the next time you see someone struggling, stop. Ask how you'd want your brother, sister, daughter, or son to be treated. Because somewhere out there, they might be hoping for one kind person to help them get home.